So, hey everyone, today we are having Shraddha with us. She is having around 10 years of experience in banking domain or in BFSI. The very first question would like to know from Shraddha is if someone is having around 10 years of experience, so what will be the salary bracket one can assume in banking? Because a lot of freshers are interested into this only.
So if you're working in a financial institute, which is a multinational bank like the one which I am working into, so they preferably start the package of freshers with, let's say, 8 lakhs per annum and beyond. So this is the starting package that you can expect in BFSI, provided you are from a good category of college that you come from, and you should have a very good academic background. So that is what they look for. So you can expect a good amount of package if you come from a good college or good academic background.
So, Shraddha, as you have shared, you are having around 10 years of experience. So, let's suppose if someone is having around 10 years of experience, and so what is the salary range one can assume if she or he is working in BFSI?
So the salary part, you can say, I can tell you a range, because the salary basically will be given to you on multiple factors. Okay, one of which could be how much experience do you have, how much domain experience do you have, what was your previous package. That is also an important thing. So if you were on a lesser package, then even a 30, 40, 50% of growth will be like too much for you. And if you were like earning according to the market standards, maybe a little of that, or maybe 30, 40% of hike is something you can expect from the banking sector in the BFSI. So one can assume that for a person who is 10 plus years of experience, something between 20 to 30 is what you can expect, basis on what kind of background you're coming from, what kind of a rich experience that you would cater to the company. So yeah, it's totally depends on your previous package.
Okay.
And a lot other factors. Yes.
And Shraddha, can you introduce yourself?
My name is Shraddha, and I have total 13 years of experience now. So I have varied experience into insurance domains and other domains like an agricultural equipment company and general insurance and health insurance like. And in all of these domains, I have been working as a SAS developer basically. And if we talk about my educational background, I have completed my MTech in computer design and machining from an NIT, VNIT. That is about my academics. And as soon as I completed my post graduation, I started working as a SAS developer. So I'm basically all my experiences into SAS.
So, Shraddha, as you have shared, your first job was into SAS. So, ये आपने decide किया था that I'll choose the job in SAS, or you got the placement in SAS?
As soon as I completed my PG, there were not much job options available in the market. And also I have very limited time since I've completed my PG and all my education. I quickly wanted to move for a job. So the first company that I worked with, that was L&T Infotech. So now LTI, which came to our campus, and they have done a campus recruitment for us. So that's how I was placed. And I was being put into data domain, data analytics, business intelligence and data analytics department, what they called at that time. And then I was being trained into many data and business intelligence related technologies like ab initio and SAS and others. And finally I was put into SAS development project after 3 months of training.
So Shraddha, what are the things you are performing in SAS? आप क्या करते थे?
As a fresher, I was being given this small task to debug the code if there is a bug in the code, to read lot of code lines and go through each and every code, what is happening in that code, what we are doing with the data, how is the input. So at the time when I was working in that project, input files were into different format. Some were mainframe files, some were Excel sheets, some were text files. So there were different kind of files which you used to read, and you have to make sure when it gets converted into a SAS data set, it should be into a proper format. The length of the format, the length of that column, then particularly the format, whether it has to be character, numeric, all of that stuff, and every column should fall into its place, and it should have that specific value and format. So this was particularly that I have to manage, collecting all the data, and then running some ETL jobs. So I had this process which was a quarterly process. So the data would come every quarter, and then we would take around 1.5 months to process all of the data and create the final output as a SAS dataset, or maybe in whichever format the requirement from the user was. A total ETL process we have to run on a quarterly basis. So that was as a part of my first job, I used to do that.
So Shraddha, how the things got changed once you got some experience? So what was the work you are initially doing, as you have shared some of, and what is the work you are doing currently after getting some experience 4-5 years? So one can get an idea, like if he or she is getting into BFSI, how the things get changed with experience.
So initially you are into a learning phase when you are a fresher, when you join. So you have to learn a lot of things. So that's why a lot of things you have to do, like, reading the code, learning things, learning domain as well if you are new there. Now, once you start getting experience and you know things, expectations from you are different. Okay. Now, when you have a clear understanding of the domain and the SAS language, what people expect from you is that you should be able to debug if the code is not working. You should be able to handle changes, and you should be able to validate and automate the codes. So that is a higher level of expectation that you have. How you can optimize the code. Maybe the first step is that you understand the code and run it. Next step for you should be how things can be automated and how things can be more optimized. So if a report takes, let's say, 1.5 hours to run, how we can optimize to run it in half hour without any manual intervention. So that is something a little bit we can say challenging, that how you can ease your job more. That is the expectation when you grow up in your career.
And Shraddha, how about the salaries? Like sometimes some people gonna get in mid-size or small companies, and some people gonna get in.
Yeah.
So what do you think, like if someone is getting more salary initially, someone is getting less salary initially, so a lot of freshers get worried that we are getting less salary. Like what's your call on this, like how one should take this?
Okay. So as a fresher, your focus should be just on learning and not the salary part. It's very true that we do work for, to earn good money. But then at the initial stage, your focus should be on how much learning that you're taking. You never know that learning today you're taking by, getting lesser amount of salary may help you in your future. If you have, good kind of exposure to the technology, to the domain, to the knowledge, it may end up giving you a lot more, a bigger package or a bigger opportunity in the future. Because if you have a small salary bracket, and if you really do good in your initial days, and if you show that all up into your interviews, maybe you can get more money than what other companies are offering. And also we have to make sure that what kind of companies we are choosing in, if you want growth. So let's say, for example, we can categorize companies into two major parts here. So one will be a product based company and one will be a service based company. So product based companies will are mostly companies who have their software centers with them, who hire people for their own work, like any of this BFSI. They have a different department. Let's say I'm working with a bank. Now I'm not working with the daily transaction of the bank, but then handling of the data of the bank. You can call it as a product based company. So product based companies will always offer you more as compared to the service based companies. To name a few, like TCS and Infosys, Capgemini, all of this. So what they do is they do hire you, but to work for these product based companies only. You might have a little bit of less salary here, but then work wise you can get a good exposure while you are comparatively junior in your career. But if you'll move for product based companies, they might give you a good package, but then they do expect, the kind of work they are being they're paying you for. So work expectations and technical expertise is a must when it comes to product based company.
And one more question, Shweta. When it comes to getting interviews and getting jobs, so now we are like seeing in the market a lot of freshers. They have this common question that we are not getting interviews or we are not getting selected. How you have seen the hirings around you or people around you who got hired as a fresher? So what is happening? Do you think like it's now getting difficult, or it was difficult from the beginning itself, but one is going through the process right now and they are understanding now? Like, what's your call on this?
What I have seen over past these years is that companies would always like to get more work done with a lesser salary. So instead of paying higher salaries to experienced persons, what they will do is they'll try to find out people who are like mid-level kind of experience and who can do the same kind of work. And what I can see out of my experience is that nowadays the freshers those are coming would not have much focus or much attention over work, but they have exposure to lot of technologies. Nowadays, if you compare the syllabus that we had for computer technology, the times when we were into college, and now the syllabus has changed a lot. So they have a lot of exposure and they come like very much prepared. So companies will do hire freshers because they are just new into everything, and they are very aspiring, and they want to do a lot of work. So that is a good thing for them, so that they can pay a little bit higher than what they can pay a mid senior level a person, and get a lot of work done from them. But currently the situation of the market is such that hiring has been freeze for some time now, is what I can see around me. But yes, it's not that there are no opportunities. If you have the right kind of skill set, if you do right kind of market research, you can very much end up into a good job. But it's true that it's a little competitive as compared to the past years.
Yeah, now coming to educational background requirement. So in BFSI, in banking or finance, insurance, or like the fields you have worked on, like worked with, and the tools you have worked with. So which background, people they are hiring, like what is the educational requirement?
Any software company or any company that hires you do not look much into your educational background, as in like in which stream you're coming from. So if I tell you my example, I am a postgraduate in mechanical engineering stream, which is nowhere related computers, but I've ended up working with a software company, right? So but what they do is they do a kind of evaluation while they interview you, like the aptitude test and other tests, return test, everything. Based on that, they hire you. And also your academics is of a lot of importance, because on the marks, on the grades that you get, so there is a hiring criteria that you should have at least first class, and no backlogs in your entire academics. So that is the basic requirement they have. But I don't think it is any mandatory to come from like only CS department, or you should be doing computers. Of course, if you have such kind of background and then you come to software, obviously it's a add-on or a plus point for you, because you already have the required knowledge. But then even if you are from electronics, or let's say mechanical also, they give you the right kind of training that they'll make you workable right when you are on the floor. I don't think the stream or this thing has a major part or role here.
So would you like to give some tips to fresher? Because mainly what is happening, most of the experienced people somehow they get some hikes and in the same company, or they can switch the company. But the main concern is about the fresher part. So a lot of freshers are having a lot of questions like how we can get interviews, how we should prepare. So having experience around 10 years, would you like to give some tips to freshers?
So I would first of all tell them that if possible, they should have a clear understanding of what they need to do in their future life. If they want to continue with the kind of job that is being offered by all of these companies, where you have to come work from this duration, whether they want to code. Also, a certain kind of a research has to be done, like what is relevant now. So nowadays, if you'll see cloud computing, AWS, all of this is so much into demand. Everyone wants to move their data to cloud. So cloud technologies like AWS, let's say Azure, GCP, all of this are on a boom because everybody wants their data to be on cloud. And then early retrieval of the data, how we can manage that data without less amount of efforts and resources, is something is the need of the hour. So you have to do first kind of your own market research, that what is in, where we are going, and how data is playing a very important role in our day to day life. Thinking of all of this, you do all of your research and then come up to a conclusion that which technology or which course do you want to take. Get a good institute or a good teacher where who can teach you all of that course. You can do online courses as well. Groom yourself up, make a good resume, have your social media accounts all ready, whether it's LinkedIn or other profiles where you apply for job. LinkedIn be the best portal so far. Have connections with people, talk to your seniors who are already being placed, that what kind of scenario or what is their experience. Post all of this, try to understand the situation and what kind of requirement there is there in the market, and accordingly groom yourself and then apply for jobs. And while applying for jobs, you can go the other way around. What you need to do, that is one way path, and the other way around can be what is the requirement, and then learn that and go in that area or in that path. So there can be two ways: what you need to do and what is required, and then grooming yourself accordingly, and then starting your journey and prepping yourself for such kind of role. So these are the two ways I think one can prepare for.
And Shraddha, one more question. Initially, right now, like freshers, a lot of freshers have this question that initially they look for, the pay, because in IT, the pay is good, right? Even the work-life balance is there, as one can take work from home, and these flexibilities are there, which are not available in the other sectors.
You're right.
So, like, how do you see these things? Because right now you're having around 10 years of experience. Might be initially you are getting 3 to 4 LPA, and right now you might be getting more than 20 or 30 LPA. So what's the difference you see in your life in terms of salary? Like, because I feel some things you get in life, and sometimes the same time we lose in life, right? Because as a fresher, people might see that it's the salary part only, but a lot of factors are there. So would you like to share some, like pros you feel that you are able to get being at a, cutting edge technology you're working with, and some cons as well, because each and every sectors are going to have some cons, right?
So pros and cons, if I try to mention about, particularly, software industry. So firstly, obviously, as you told, that there is a flexibility of work, there is a good pay, and, exposure to, in a multinational company, how projects come and go, how a team works, how you collaboratively work, all of this is there. But then at the initial stage, you might not find, this as a burden. But as you grow in your life, your personal life also grows. You might think that you have lesser time for yourself and, all the other things that you do. Managing a work-life balance might be a challenge sometimes, when you grow in your personal life as well. So in that case, you might find that these jobs are quite demanding. But then I can say, as you grow, you accustom yourself to this kind of a setting. Like, you have to work 9 to 5, you have these meetings, and you have to complete certain kind of a job. And as your experience levels go up, you have more responsibilities. So it doesn't become that you work in a bracket that you have to just have to work 9 to 5. You might have to extend, you might have to work on weekends as well. So you have to strike that kind of a balance. And if you are okay with such kind of a setting where every day you have to log in at this time, work for these many hours, and then just have a good time in the evening. So that is all is there, and that I think changes to company as well. How much work pressure do they have? So if you'll compare domain wise, I think BFSI is something that is really demanding at times. Sometimes people do not look at the watch, or they don't look at the time. They're not bothered about if your personal thing or your personal life is getting hampered, but they need to get the work done. So sometimes these jobs are quite demanding as well. That might change. So according to your project, the company, the kind of people you're working with, so all of these factors are there when it comes to this kind of job. And obviously there is a uncertainty everywhere. Market goes up and down, and if the requirement, if you do not meet the requirement, obviously there is a uncertainty in these jobs as well. But if you're good at your work and you do it wholeheartedly, relentlessly, I don't think, I mean, it's a fairly good job to have, with 2 days of off, and other perks that you have. You might also get an opportunity to work abroad, where you can make a lot of money also there, and that's also another kind of a challenging thing. But then yeah, as compared to other jobs we have currently in our country, this will be one of the best jobs you can have with a good salary.
Even what I have seen, Shraddha, even I belong from mechanical. Okay, I have done my graduation in mechanical, and then I got a job in design engineering. Somehow, after months only, like I have, I left that job and I started working into something else, and finally landed a job as a statistical programmer in CR. So what I have observed, that when I started my job into this role, statistical programmer, within few years only, like the knowledge I got, that was tremendous knowledge. And it was even the financial opportunities I was getting, that was way better than if I was into mechanical.
Right.
So obviously we have to contribute 6, 7 or 5, 4 hours. Everyone have to work somewhere to keep their life cycle going. In that, if you compare, it's better to work technology, because technology is the demand of the current era. It not only gives us the money, flexibility, but also the ability to think more and think globally, because technologies are globally same compared to other work. Because of that job only, I got the confidence that I can do more in life. This is another, what I have seen pros. If you work on some role that is, globally in demand, and you are learning in a good way in the initial years, so it gives you the level of achievement that you can think beyond the box. You can try something more. Or else what happens, Shraddha, our whole life goes into from 10 to 15k, and 15 to 20, and 20 to 25k, maybe 30, 40, like this only. So
Right.
And because we work on a cutting edge technologies and good roles, the salaries goes like from 20 to 40k, and 40 to 60, 70, like this. But yeah, everything have its pro and cons. What I feel, financial is something that if you don't achieve a level in your financial, until unless you are able to spend money wisely, and you are getting that money that you can properly spend, until unless you have to think every time that I'm having a money or not, you cannot think beyond in life. You'll
Right.
always look for that
Financial
I should
stability
get,
is a must.
yeah.
Yes.
Some level of financial freedom is also important. Some level, what I mean to say, like if someone is having more demands that I want this and this, so that cannot be met, right? Like, because as money grows, we also demand, right? Our lifestyle also get changed.
Yes.
But there are certain level of achievement you can reach, okay, if you maintain the goal of spending and earning. So in that case, it helps a lot. Being on a technological role, it gives you the
Right.
freedom to think more, to fly more, and things are connected. You can switch easily into technologies.
Right.
But yeah, you need to upgrade yourself.
That is the
Along
so
with
this is the point
yeah,
I wanted to talk
yeah,
about technologies when we are talking, that the only thing about technology, it's changing very, very rapidly, and you have to be at the same pace at the technology work. So if I see my career, there was not much of technological change that was happening, but nowadays the kind of upgradation is happening, and the switch in the technology is happening. You have to be relevant with the kind of technologies that are going in the market. So that is, I can say, a biggest con of technology. You cannot stick to one. You just have to go on improving yourself and learning new things if you are into a technical domain.
And Shraddha, any three things would you like to share that you have learned after years of working in corporate, and that if you could have, made those changes early, or if you have could known that early? Any three things?
So one thing is that nobody will tell you what you need to do. You have to figure out for yourself that what is needed and how I can work on this and add some value. Nobody will tell you. They'll just give you some work that do this, do that. But you yourself have that in you to do all the work effortlessly. That is the first point I can tell. Another thing is maintaining a good collaboration and good rapport with your team is something is very important, because we are different people. Every human being is different. Their temperament and mentality can be different. But if you want to work in a collaborative way in a team, you cannot let's suppose there is a discussion or a meeting happening, you cannot argue with people. You have to maintain a certain kind of business ethics when you are working. That is another thing, I think, that one must always have. And a continuous and repeated kind of a frequent feedback with your higher ups is what I think should always be there. I mean, and the feedback can be both ways. If you're facing any issues, you should obviously go to your higher ups and tell them that this is the kind of issues that I'm facing, whether it's with some person or with the technology or any kind of a feedback. You also seek for feedback for yourself, that you can ask with your manager or your higher ups or your teams or your leads, that how am I doing, what are the areas that I can improve into. So all of these questions, so I think these three things will help you a lot, because as a fresher or maybe as a newcomer, we are a little bit afraid of to go up and raise a voice for certain things. But if you have that kind of a rapport and communication, it will definitely going to help you in your career. So I think a continuous kind of a feedback, communication, a good rapport with your team, and doing things by yourself without any push, doing something extra, doing what is also not expected from you. A little 5% extra can get you much more in in your career.
So Shraddha, that was all from my end, and thanks a lot for giving your valuable time. And guys, you might have a lot of questions we might not covered in this video. It can happen. So you can openly ask in the comments, and even I and Shraddha, we both can contribute in your comments and as SEP. And if it is required, we can create another series as well, another broadcast as well, if you have a lot of questions. So I hope you all got some clarity. And what I mean to say, guys, a lot of initial struggles you might face, but as you can see in front of you, both of us, we belong from different educational background. Totally, it's not relevant to IT, it's relevant to machines more, but we are working on technologies, or we got exposure into technologies. And this shows that it doesn't require to have a technological background to understand technology. Okay, first to learn the IT tools, and second to get the jobs as well, because we both, either we are working, either we have worked in the past on technologies. So this shows if it is possible for us, it's possible for everyone. But the only thing is, when you are starting, you need to be consistent and you need to understand what are the required skills that is needed and be ready with that. And coming to one thing, Shraddha, what I have seen for freshers, a lot of people, that easily get demotivated within few months. What I have experienced when I started my journey 6 or 7 years back, and for me it was difficult. So off campus, getting interviews, and especially on IT roles, getting interviews and cracking both becomes hectic. It's not difficult, but it becomes hectic because the cycle is taking more time.
Right.
Okay, because more number of people there, and each cycle can absorb only out of 110 people it can take.
Right.
So, and in each and every cycle, the cohort is getting increased, the number of people. So, but yeah, as you have shared, there is always a space for the people who are up to date with their skills, those who are consistent.
Right.
and moving in a positive direction. So for everyone, the journey gonna be same. It is not like कि पहले easy था, अभी difficult है, and आगे जाके easy हो जाएगा. The journey gonna be same. Like if you want to move into some high-paying roles, especially IT roles, you need to groom yourself accordingly. You need to become deserving for that. आपको थोड़ा बहुत perform करना पड़ेगा एक certain time period तक. You cannot lose your consistency, or else someone will get into that. आप पीछे जाओगे, कोई और आगे आएगा, and he'll get the chance. So at least for 6-7 months, you need to be consistent in the learning part and cracking interviews. And that's how this cycle works. It's gonna be same. ऐसा नहीं है that पहले easy था, अब difficult हो गया. पहले ऐसा था, and there is a market cycle. The market gonna be always like this. Sometimes hiring will be more, sometimes will be less, and this cycle will keep going. Something gonna happen in the world that will slow down the process, and again something will happen that's gonna increase the process as well. So these two things gonna always happen. So what I mean to say, don't blame yourself for whatever it is happening. Play your part and just leave other things which is not in your hand. But whatever is in your hand, give your fullest, give your best. And again, thanks a lot, Shraddha, for your time, and thank you everyone. And that's all for today, guys. Thank you and bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.